How are you? Good to see you here now, eh?
Yeah. Management members.
Good morning to you all. Good morning, Minister for Education, Minister for Economy, the police station officers from Sigataka Police Station, the head teachers, for accepting our invitation and availing himself.
It gives me much pleasure to be here this morning. As you know that school prize giving is very, very important, in particular for school children, because it marks a very important day in the school calendar, and that is a recognition of how well the students have done. The other point, of course, is that school students don't like to listen to long speeches. So I don't intend to make a very long speech, but essentially to say in particular and speak to the parents that education is very much, as highlighted by your head teacher, education is very, very important. Education is very, very important for all of us, in particular to ensure that our school children get the right level of exposure and the right quality education. I was just a few days ago, when arriving from Germany from the COP23 on Monday evening. On Tuesday, I was actually in Kulukulu and Ba. In the afternoon, I was at Tilak High School. Yesterday, I was at the CMF, the Christian Fellowship School, in the morning, Corpus Christi at midday, and last night at Nakai Congo in Lokia, in Coronivia. And today I'm here in Kulukulu, and by midday I have to be in Donua and Kavanangasau area. The reason why I'm highlighting all of this to you is to demonstrate to you that there are so many different schools throughout Fiji, with different demographics, different backgrounds, different locations. The people, the parents who live around those schools and send their children to school. Some of them are farmers, some of them live in the cities, some of them are, a lot of them are housewives, a lot of them work in the hotels, the different professions. What that means though is that the level or the impact of how the education system in that particular area is affected, it varies from school to school. But what really binds everything is that all parents, all guardians, all of us want our children to get quality education. We also have to make sure that there is no distinction made between schools. The students who may be living in Kandavu, the people who are living in the interior of Ba, in Kulukulu here, we must ensure that we must get the same level of education. It's very important. This is why the head teacher has highlighted, government has made education completely free. No more school fees. We know for so many years, a lot of children used to drop out. Some used to face embarrassing situations because their parents could not afford the school fees. Today, there's no such excuse. As you know, even in class 1, we used to provide now Weet-Bix and milk. It is very, very important for us to understand that we as a young country, because nearly 70% of the entire Fijian population, 69.4% to be exact, is below the age of 40. So those of you, like us, who are over the age of 40, we're in the minority. These young people are the majority. And if we, as the elders, we need to ensure that we provide them with a very solid foundation to learning. Learning because it enables them to think, enable them to be able to view the world in a much broader sense, be able to relate much better to other human beings, but also be able to get good jobs when they grow up. And that is very, very important for us. So ladies and gentlemen, government has, for the past number of years, worked in all of these areas. We also believe that teachers play a very pivotal role in the education system. Parents leave their children at school at 8 o'clock in the morning, some leave them at 7:30 in the morning, and then they see them in the afternoon after they finish from school. So the teachers play a very critical role in developing the minds of your children, in how they think, how they view other human beings, how they will relate to each other when they grow up as adults. I still remember today the teachers who left a huge impression on me. What they taught me has actually shaped me as an adult. I think therefore we should all put our hands together for all the teachers, ladies and gentlemen, for all the wonderful work that they are doing. As you know, that we've also highlighted that as your head teacher said, that we've also recently given teachers, all teachers, a pay rise. Of course, there's been a recognition of teachers who also act as head teachers, deputy head teachers, because we need to ensure that the teachers feel satisfied with the work environment that they live in. And we will now, going forward from next year, have continuous assessments of their performance so they get continuously appraised and rewarded for their performance, not every 10 years or 5 years, whatever it may be. And this is very, very important for us to understand. The other point I also like to make is that a lot of the schools in Fiji, almost all schools in Fiji, are run by school committees or started by school committees or faith-based organizations. If these faith-based organizations or school committees did not start up the schools, today we would have very little schools in Fiji. So we also recognize that most of these people who are in the committees, they do this job free of charge. They don't get paid for it. They do it because they have a passion for it. They do it because they want the children to be educated. They want the community to be educated. And therefore, we must recognize the pioneering work of many of the school committees, the trustees, etc., who've actually ensured that we have schools created in places such as Kulukulu. Again, I think we should all put our hands together for the school committees, the various parents and teachers who contribute towards it. Before I finish off, I wanted to make two last points. One of them is about climate change. A lot of people do not understand the enormous level of publicity and advantage that Fiji gained from having the presidency of COP23. Led by Honorable Prime Minister, Fiji made such a huge impression in Germany with all the countries in the world. There are over close to 200 countries in the world that participated in it. There was something like 35,000 people at those meetings. The exposure that Fiji got was phenomenal. You won't ever get, money cannot buy that level of exposure. The second thing is that we were able to highlight the challenges that we face as small island countries in respect of climate change. And we should all need to understand that we can start in our small way. And I'd also ask everybody, you are situated next to a heritage site, which is the Singatoga Sand Dunes. It's unique. We need to be able to look after the sand dunes. And I was asking the school committee members, they talked about the rangers. And I'm really glad that the school has a ranger program. The school students go and work with the heritage, the trust. We need to be able to look after our environment. We need to ensure, and I want to tell the school children this too, and the teachers and the parents, and sometimes the worst offenders are the parents themselves. How many of you, the last time when you drank a bottle of Coke, or you ate a packet of beans, the plastic that you had, you simply dropped it on the ground? It does not cost you any money to be clean. If you have that small plastic bag, you have a packet of twisties, keep it with you, throw it in the rubbish bin, the next nearest rubbish bin. If you have that bottle, keep it, throw it in the rubbish bin. People come to Fiji, tourists come to Fiji because they think Fiji is clean, it's pristine, it's unique. In order for us to be able to maintain that, we have to keep Fiji clean. It does not cost a single cent. And I hope everybody is inculcated with this way of thinking. It's a very simple issue. Our environment, we need to be cognizant of what happens in our environment, and of course there will be a lot more programs regarding that. The second point I'd like to make, which is the last point, ladies and gentlemen, is that I went to one of the schools yesterday at CMF, and around this school, as like many schools do, they had pasted on their walls values that we all want. It said kindness, love, patience, understanding, tolerance, all of those wonderful things. But the reality is, ladies and gentlemen, there's no point putting these things up if we don't practice it. And some people practice kindness or love or affection or compassion depending on who the other person is. So some people will say, I'll only show kindness, or in their mind they think, I'll only show kindness if that person is of my ethnic group, or if that person is of my religion, or that person comes from the same province, or that person lives in the same street that I do. No. Love, compassion, kindness does not have any limitation. We are all human beings. We are all Fijians. We all live in this country. We are all born in this country. If I say that I am taught to love people, human beings, I should not stop loving somebody. I should not show that level of compassion just because the person looks different from me. Just because you may be black, the other person is white, does not mean you stop doing that. Because after all, we are all God's children. We are all God's children. And His love, God's love, is not restricted to anybody. Similarly, we should not do that. And that is fundamentally one of the problems we find in Fiji today. A lot of people's sense of affection, compassion, is limited by who the other person is. I told this story in Parliament, and I told this story yesterday at Corpus Christi graduation, because there's a group of teachers. And it is very, very critical for us to understand this. A few years ago, I was in Suva near Cairns Geneve. There's a turning point there, and a car turned right, and the door of the car opened, and a baby fell out. It was traveling at high speed, and the baby fell out. And everybody is really shocked. We're all standing in the street. Everybody is really shocked. And the lady next to me, she grabbed my arm and she said to me, Indian baby or Fijian baby? Indian baby or Fijian baby? This is going back quite a few years ago. The point of that is that her sense of grief, her sense of what's happened to the baby, for her depended on what ethnicity the baby was. You see, this is completely wrong. If a child, that's a child. If a child falls out of a bus, out of a car, we should all be concerned about it. Our sense of grief should not be heightened or reduced depending on the ethnicity of the person. In the same way, we all come from Nanronga. If somebody is from Kandavu, doesn't mean that we don't feel less sorry for them. Maybe in the Tavu sense you can. But you know what I mean. Everybody is a human being. If we are all able to practice that in our lives, we'll become much better as individuals, as human beings. We'll become much better as a community. We'll become much better as a nation. In the same way, the police officer, when he sees somebody committing an offense, he should apply the law equally. Not because, or he'll apply it differently because it's a relative, or because of a different ethnic group, or because they come from different socioeconomic status. Just because somebody is poorer does not mean we treat them differently. Just because somebody is richer doesn't mean we treat them differently. If we are able to understand that, and if we are able to inculcate that idea in our children, we'll create a much better future. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the invitation. I'd like to thank the school for the invitation. I wish I could stay a bit longer, but I will, as I said to the head teacher, I'd like to go and do all the prize giving to all the students. Then I'd like to leave after that. But I thank you once again. Parents, please keep on encouraging your children. Please create the right environment in your home. Government has provided all the facilities, as your head teacher said, subsidized bus fares, free textbooks. no more school fees. All we ask you is please create the right environment, give them the space to do their homework, show a little bit of interest, and you'll find that they'll do really well in school. I wish you all a very good morning. Thank you.
There are no second place getters in year 1 since we have 2 first place getters. And the environment officer, the award goes to Manisha Devi.
Take it.
Aris.
The second place, there is a student in year 2 who has got 100% attendance. The other second place getter is Simrita Nishika Dutt. There are no third place getters in year 3 since there are 2 second place getters.
All girls except 1 point.
Next is Caroline Mari.
Big name.
Apakupi Raiboka Namandrai. Deepak Rashni Kumar. Now we have Frank Hicks.
Kumar. These are the 2 heads of the student body for 2017. The award goes to none other than Aryan Jainan Sharma. Can we have a big round of applause, please? The Dutch Award 2017 goes to Aryan Jainan Sharma. Congratulations, Aryan.
Where are your parents? Your mom? Your mother? Congratulations. Congratulations. The tall guy.